Hello and welcome everyone. Today's video features a complete review guide of the brand new Italian Tier 9 premium battleship Giuseppe Verdi. Now this Italian battleship project was developed in Italy by the Ansaldo firm in the year 1936, whereupon Giuseppe Verdi was developed using the Vittorio Venetto class as a starting point. What makes her stand out from most other Italian battleships is that Giuseppe Verdi has high explosive shells instead of the usual semi-armor piercing, while still retaining very nice armor piercing shells. The Giuseppe Verdi also gets an improved exhaust smoke generator consumable, which provides this ship with the opportunity to either disengage from heavy enemy fire or even potentially reach favourable positions on the battlefield without being detected. Now the Giuseppe Verdi will be available for 19,300 doubloons in the armory or in the premium store from the morning of the 23rd of December 2021. So starting as usual with the ship review, let me quickly put up the complete build I've been refining throughout testing. As you can see, I'm using a pretty standard tank build. But I will add here, I am using the Luigi Sansonetti captain, so I'm taking advantage of the bonus to gun feeder. I am using grease the gears, but risk or priority target or even vigilance are all valid options here as a 2-point alternative. So this is the exact build I'm using in this gameplay, and please take into account all the numbers mentioned from this point on are based on this exact combination of captain skills and upgrades. So moving on to the armor layout. Now the sharp-eyed among you will instantly recognize that this is the identical armor layout to the Marco Polo. 32mm on both bow and stern sections, with additional plating of 130mm underneath the front turret. The main deck is 55mm, the superstructure 19, an upper casemate armour of 70mm, and the main belt armour is 320mm. Now, as stated, this is identical to the Marco Polo. And just like the Marco Polo, the Giuseppe Verdi gets some turtleback internal sloped armor. And if we look here at the internal view from the bow, you can see 300mm of artillery chip and 150mm at the top. So this is quite solid, and you can see the internal sloping on the actual turtleback armor here. So while you might think that the belt armor of 350mm seems a little lacking, this sloped internal armor really does make the Giuseppe Verdi feel quite tanky indeed. I've quite enjoyed the tanky feeling of the Giuseppe Verdi so far. Having this turtleback protection, it doesn't mean you can be simply cavalier in your approach and randomly show broadsides to battleship threats. You do have to actively protect this armor. So angled correctly, Giuseppe Verdi really can take quite a beating. And this combination of the exhaust smoke generator when you come under really heavy fire to be able to disengage and avoid showing flat broadsides, this can greatly enhance the Giuseppe Verdi's survivability. Finally, survivability wise, Giuseppe Verdi gets 69,100 hit points. Now this is also identical to the Marco Polo. Now while it might be considered at the bottom range compared to other Tier 9 battleships, it's very similar to the Schönbar, for example. Simply put, a solid armor layout reinforced by turtleback protection, added to the exhaust smoke generator, it's a pretty tanky mix. So moving to the main artillery, Giuseppe Verdi gets 9 406mm guns in 3 triple mounted turrets. These guns have a reload time of 27.3 seconds. They can rotate 180 degrees in 34.5 seconds. This is using grease the gears. They have a max dispersion of 236 meters with a max firing range of 19.1 kilometers. This firing range can also be increased with the spotter aircraft, and these guns have a sigma value of 1.7. The Giuseppe Verdi can fire both high explosive and armor piercing rounds. The HE shells, they can inflict a max damage of 5700. They have a 36% chance of setting the target on fire. They can penetrate 68 millimeters of armor and have a shell speed of 836 meters per second. The armor piercing rounds have the exact same shell speed and can inflict a max damage of 12,600. Now, I've found the performance of these AP shells to be quite impressive. They seem to have quite decent penetration, and I regularly was able to citadel battleships at max range, but this really did feel quite rewarding. What makes the Giuseppe Verdi quite unique in terms of battleships is that she gets secondary armament that fires only semi-armor piercing. They come in 2 gun calibers, 12 twin-mounted 90mm. They have a reload time of 3.8 seconds, a base firing range of 7.7 kilometers. They can inflict a max damage of 2000. They can penetrate 26 millimeters of armor and a shell speed of 860 meters per second. The larger gun caliber of 152 millimeters comes in 12 guns in total, mounted in 4 triple mounted turrets. These have a slightly longer reload speed of 9.5 seconds. Again, the same max firing range of 7.7. They can inflict a max damage of 3,850. They can penetrate 42 millimeters of armor with a faster shell speed of 950 meters per second. Now, I did play around with secondary builds for the Verdi, but I did find them really quite underwhelming. They lacked a fire chance, and they really did seem quite inaccurate at times. I would encourage you to experiment, but my experiments resulted usually in failure, so I focused on getting these main battery guns as accurate as possible. Submarines are still currently being tested in the game, and the Giuseppe Verdi gets depth charge airstrikes, 2 available flights, with 2 aircraft per attack flight, each capable of dropping 6 bombs, 12 bombs in total per attack flight. They can inflict a max bomb damage of 3700. They have a max firing range of 10 kilometers and a reload time of 60 seconds. When it comes to AA defense, the Giuseppe Verdi does feel a little bit on the light side. With an AA defense rating of 72, Giuseppe Verdi gets 16 sextuple mounted 20mm guns, 10 twin mounted 37mm, and then 12 twin mounted 90mm. All combined, they pump out a continuous average damage of 340. It's virtually equally split between short, medium and long range AA values, and the max firing range is 4.6 kilometers. Despite the short max firing range, Giuseppe Verdi is capable of firing 8 shell explosions per flak salvo, and these can do a max damage of 1397. So moving on to the Verdi's maneuverability, she gets a base speed of 32 knots. This can be increased to 33.6 when mounting the Sierra Mike signal flag, a turning circle radius of 860 meters, and a rudder shift time 12.8 seconds. And this is using the steering gears upgrade in slot 4. When it comes to concealment, the Verdi gets a concealment rating of 45 when using both captain skill and concealment upgrade. Now this equates to a surface detection range of 13.2 kilometers by enemy surface ships, and then by 10.5 kilometers by enemy subs and enemy aircraft. So my overall thoughts on the Giuseppe Verdi. Once I managed to pull myself out of the thinking of having to use secondaries, I found this ship performed really well. Once I started using the accuracy mod and focusing primarily on the main battery, I found these guns to be really quite punchy. Their performance in general was really solid, and I found myself penetrating targets even at peculiar angles that I wasn't used to. In disengagement, it does kind of show the deficiencies of a secondary build, which I am not using in this footage, by the way. Here I'm fighting a real secondary ship, the Georgia, slightly angled. I'm aiming slightly above the waterline. Being put under a lot of pressure here from... There is actually a Forrest Sherman in this game also that was spamming me quite a bit. I'm in a 1v1 against this Georgia. He is slightly showing a little bit more broadside. I should be able to get at him. I am getting a bit more backup here. We do get a citadel. Suddenly we're slowly clawing this game back. It was quite unexpected. My flank did collapse. We lost 2 early destroyers on my side, which can usually be quite crippling. Getting more and more angle on that George's broadside. We citadel him again. He's crippled. And we're very close to closing out this game. Been taking fire from that Bismarck behind. This was surprisingly... We were quite easily able to bounce the high caliber shells of the Georgia. Simply using my smoke here because I still have it. Giving myself a chance to turn, bring my guns to bear on the Bismarck. Now this, you might be surprised, this was just an ordinary game in the Giuseppe Verdi. I found myself averaging just over 140,000 damage per game, which I really did find quite surprising. I wouldn't exactly call myself a battleship player, but this ship felt surprisingly good. This combination of punchy guns, high survivability, really did make for an entertaining mix. So I hope I was able to provide you some useful information on the Giuseppe Verdi, whether you're interested in picking it up or not. If you have any questions, feel free to come on over and visit me on Twitch. I stream there regularly during the week, or simply if you want to hang out for some chilled out gameplay, I look forward to seeing you all. I'd like to thank you once again all for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more. Take a moment to check out some of my most recent videos and leave a comment below. And until the next time, keep sailing it like you stole it.